don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
A very pleasant good day, curling fans, and welcome to Swift Current, Saskatchewan. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. This features our matchup today between Team Kevin Cooey versus Rylan Kleiter of Saskatchewan. I'm Dave Schmel. I'm joined by Shawn and Joyce, and here we see the lineup for Team Cooey. It is Kevin Cooey, the skip, Aaron Sluchinski, the third, Tyler Tardy, the second, and Carrie Martin at lead. And for Team Kleiter, Rylan Kleiter is the skip, Joshua Mattern at third, Matthew Hall at second, and Trevor Johnson throwing the lead stones. And Shawn, here we are. It's the B qualifier here.
Yeah, short rest for the Kleiter team. They just lost the A qualifier in the last draw, went down to the last end, and right back on the ice with a second chance to qualify for the playoffs. Could be a long day. I think the other A qualifier was first thing this morning as well. If you happen to lose the A and B, you're facing a long day today because the C qualifier is later on tonight as well.
We see it is Team Kleiter. They have the hammer, throwing the Yellowstones.
This is my first time having a look at the Cooey team with his new lineup. Now, I did get a chance to call one of their games a couple of weeks ago, but it was at the event that Aaron Sluchinski was away because he was playing doubles that particular weekend. So they played shorthanded. And at the time, I think the conventional thought was he was going to be playing second. He's playing third now, and Tyler Tardy has moved down to play second. They were likely going to play in that form, or brush in that format anyway. Tyler and Carrick would be the brushers, being the right and left-hander, and Aaron used to being in the house anyway as a skip.
Yeah, I had an ability to call this lineup the other day, and definitely just seems that Tyler looks a little bit more comfortable at second, in my opinion. It just felt like a better fit up and down the order. We'll see if that continues, but they have 3 straight wins, so something must be clicking.
And for the Kleiter team, I can tell you that while Matthew Hall is listed as the second, and he throws the second stones, he's also the vice on this team. So he will be in the house. I'm trying to remember. Matthew Talion was the player that had played through them. Might have the first name wrong. Through juniors and had played up, but he's no longer available. When they had to pick up a player, they were familiar with Matthew from playing against him in juniors. Playing out of Ontario, I believe, at that time. So they picked him up. He slotted into the position that they needed to fill as far as throwing, but he's also a skip by his own right. Very intelligent young man. So they've got him holding the broom for Rylan. The whole team gets very involved in the strategy decisions. They're a good young team.
We see a lot of teams being very successful with that. Definitely noticed that with Team Fujisawa last night, watching them. It's no longer seen as taboo for the front end to have an opinion.
Well, maybe on these teams. If my senior team is watching, you just disregard that.
I knew I could find Shawn the curmudgeon in there someplace. So trying to play the come around here, we see Martin and Sluchinski. Got a nice line and gonna come to the back 8, probably just a touch too heavy.
Rylan just letting his own team know who's got shot rock here. And from the hack end, you can probably only see 2 of those 5 rocks.
So here is the aforementioned Matt Hall. It's going to track right along those guards and come down to the stone just thrown in the back.
Both of these teams very good at angles and run-ins, and it shows just how confident they are in playing those shots right now. That they're so patient. He's not playing anything run-in yet. He's still trying to set up angles in the house.
This one is going to come up a little bit high, add another guard, so opportunity for Rylan Kleiter to try to do the same thing again.
Yeah, I think if you come around again, they're playing one of those runbacks. He's looking at the double on the top 2 reds, the 2 guards. Can probably make the double and roll off the center line too.
Oh, and the run back attempt. Double it off. Get the 1. Ooh, push it straight back. Don't know if he expected to do exactly that.
Yeah, no, they wanted to catch the second guard. They just cleared it and lost one of their own.
Pretty fortunate that went out the side.
Left a guard up front. The tight red could still be run onto the red at the top of the rings.
So Sluchinski. Trying to wrap this around for his team. Tardy trying to bring it over the last little bit, and both teams seem to have a love affair with the back 4 there, Shawn.
Yeah, that was a little strong. I mean, you could have been T-line on that angle, and it's still hard to remove, but as soon as you get it back there, the yellow at the top of the 4-foot shot for sure. I'm not sure who's second, and there's room for Kleiter to get another one in on that side.
It's a big thing to be mindful of is we've been burning this particular line up with a whole bunch of stones. It's just going to keep on getting keener and keener.
If anybody could ever get one half around in front of the tee line, we might see something have to get moved back.
So here's Mattern.
Lots of room coming by again, and this one's going to be strong now. If he nudges that just a little,
They
we
do
know
lie
for sure
three.
he's lying 3.
You would have to think that just follow the leader again.
Yeah, you need to get to the inside of this. You can go right by it. You can come to the back, get by the one that was just thrown, freeze the back one. You're still shot rock. So you can play this like a cold draw. They'd still love to get one in front of the tee line. It's getting tougher and tougher to do that. With, as you said, the ice is getting keener. The guards are tight. They're trying to get around a stone at the top of the 8-foot and still get inside the stone that was just thrown. There's not a lot of room to do that in front of the tee line. Well, this one's curling.
Yeah, this has got a much better line. Now try to carve it over, and that will find the inside. Great shot by Sluchinski. Shot stone for Team Cooey. So, Team Kleiter went from high cotton to moderate levels of excrement. So, how do you dig out?
Well, I'm not sure this is the way, but it's tough. You're late enough in the end now. It's tough to clean things up too. Like you make the double peel, it's still buried under staggered rocks at the top of the 8-foot. Try to get sitting on the corner of this one and hoping you still have a shot to move it out later on. Can't get rid of it now. You can't even move it now, I don't think.
This one needs to curl. Needs some
Slow
breaks
down.
too.
Oh, and it's the double spill off that got him. If they'd sat right beside it, they could have chiseled it out. But now the yellow's in the yellow at the back of the 4-foot's in the way. They can't even hit the side of the yellow and get it towards shot rock. If Kevin Cooey ever froze that pocket, I don't know how you're not stealing.
I think all that would be left for Rylan Kleiter is to come around on the intern side and make a play on the one on the top 4-foot and try to move that back.
Yeah, if he could, I don't know if he can even get enough of it to. He'd probably have to bring it off the stone you're about to freeze in there, I think, to get shot rock.
Yeah.
Which might be there depending on how this is frozen on.
I can see a sliver, a good sliver from the hack, looking at the long shot. But this shot has to come first. And we've seen Cooey make a few of these over the years. Just once or twice.
You know he's liking the fact that it's the out turn.
Yes, he does. So there's the micro lift and the delivery. Tardy and Martin. I think this needs some line. It is cutting over hard. If you can just get to move a little bit more, it's really good. That's a nice outcome there.
Yeah.
Cooey lies 1-2. For me, Shawn, I think you need to look at the other side of the sheet.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree. I know what he's looking at here. You get to half of that red or thicker if you could. The back red is probably going out off something else, and you hope to leave your shooter in a spot where you could come off it and kill the other red, which means Kevin Cooey's got to do something with his last one because there's a lot of yellows sitting around. If you could get rid of one red here and create an escape route for the other one, Kevin Cooey's in a little bit of trouble. So you come by with the outturn. I don't know if you can make it with hack because it's going to touch the one at the back of the forefoot, right? So you probably have to throw bumper. You hit the first red, it's directly onto the second red. It'll clip the yellow at the back, but I mean, it's not going anywhere because there's another red behind it. And then if your shooter rolls just fully into the 8-foot, you know, that first red's not going to go anywhere. But if your shooter rolls just into the 8-foot, you could come off it with your last one for maybe as many as 5. Boy, tough to think he's going to try to stay there with the shooter at all with that kind of ice. Maybe just trying to make sure he blasts this one out, but I'm not sure how that gives you a shot to get the second one.
Well, I like that plan that ends up with 5 if I was him.
Yeah, it's and if nothing else, because if you can set that up, it forces Kevin Cooey to be a little bit more defensive with this last shot. He's got to be really careful where he puts it.
So Rylan Kleiter with his first stone in the opening end.
Ooh, that's a big set on the release. That's still tracking back. I don't know if he's going to make contact with the red.
Just does. Clears it out. Cuts it down.
Yeah,
Cooey line 1 and Rylan everything else.
By losing your shooter, I'm not sure how you're ever getting that other red out. I guess you can see a piece of it still. I don't know whether Cooey would ever just throw a guard. You throw a guard, you run the risk that Rylan Kleiter just runs the guard back because the chances of him sticking both of them there aren't very good. You come around the other side, you got to be careful about leaving a double. He doesn't have a shot on the other side right now for more than one because it's the red's just jamming. It's that same shot is what you got to worry about. He's got room to pick that yellow or pick the red off the 2 yellows. He probably loses one of them. Might lose the shooter that's still for 3.
So you just throw a really high guard and increase the level of difficulty.
You could. The other thing there being is if you get it high enough, Rylan might just decide to draw around the other side, try to take his single. If you can overlap it at all, there's no run back at all. You could play the same draw again.
Certainly plenty of options.
If you're going to play the same draw, you have to get at least to the nose and preferably across the face this time. Because now there's room, you know, it's up higher. You corner freeze that same angle and it goes over the top of the yellow.
So it looks like he's settling on just throwing on the draw.
Yeah. I'd be a little scared to be on the high side. If you move the red back, you should be okay, because then you're probably creating a pocket with the yellow red so that your shooter's not going anywhere. If you freeze right on the corner of it and he's got enough to get close to the nose, he can make both reds go. If you move the red back a few inches, then your shooter's not going to go over the top of the yellow one. Or if you could get to the inside. If you get to the inside, you're golden.
So after much deliberation, draw appears to be the call.
You get to the inside, you could steal 2 here because he's probably still got to draw to the other side to beat it, and there's not going to be any steal of 1. If you're on the inside corner of your own here, it's going to be either 2 for you or 1 the other way.
Kevin Gilly with this final of the first. Waiting on this one.
Yeah, it's carving over now.
It's got the line. Comes into contact. It is still Cooey sitting just the 1.
I think the double goes. You hit it thin, hit the top of the second red. Now, because the red-yellow are at an angle, they'll both spin. He's going to lose the shooter. He's going to lose one of the yellows, but this is for 3.
So you're going to hit a little less than what you can see?
Yeah, you want less than half. I think you got to get it across the top enough that you get both reds spinning out of the 4-foot. Again, they don't have to leave the rings. They just have to leave the 4-foot. Lively striking bands, and he's not going to be light on this one.
I have no doubt about that, buddy.
It's what I like to call really firm hack.
Rylan Kleiter, final stone of the first. Looking to make some hay right now in the opener. On it hard off his hand. Pass the guard on the 1, roll it over. No.
Yeah, just a little too thick on the first.
Caught a little too much. It's a steal 1 for Kevin Cooey. Kleiter will have the hammer when we come back from Swift Current right after this.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you
Welcome back to Swift Current. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown here from the Swift Current Curling Club. We have Cooey versus Kleiter. It was Kevin Cooey with a steal 1 in the first end. Dave Schmel along with Shawn, Joyce.
Isn't that always the way it works out? You got 5 rocks touching the 4-foot, and only one of them goes on the board.
That happens so often, and we are so happy to have you guys joining us here on Curling Stadium. If you haven't had the opportunity, please give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us bring you more curling all the time. And feel free to chime on in with us in the chat. We love having an interactive dialogue. So we see that really long corner guard up. Center guard for Cooey in one of the rings. And now Trevor Johnson, who didn't get the fact that they're wearing the home team uniform memo.
I've seen a few teams that have done that in the past where they've got the lights and the darks, and everyone's, it seems like it's always the same guy who's wearing the different color. And I don't want to say curlers are superstitious, but curlers are superstitious, and sometimes you'll get the odd guy that, I don't care which color we're wearing. I'm making my shots with this shirt. I'm sticking with this one.
Oh, I have a friend who I bonspiel with, and he assigned me to pick his shirts for the day in the morning. So I picked him, and then I picked this one particular green shirt, and we ended up being event finalists, and I think actually winning the bracket that we are in. And no, that's his Sunday shirt now. Period. John is not allowed to wear anything other than that one particular shirt. So I get it.
A little bit of a miscue there. They just rubbed the yellow on the way by. It hung on the back of the 12. Rylan keeps looking at the hole, see if it'll get any bigger, and it didn't. So he's going to come around the other side and play something on the yellow.
It's like looking out your car window. Objects in mirror may be closer than they appear.
Well, you know, it looks like a tough hole because of the reverse stagger, but so many of these teams, so many of these players are good at throwing that little bit of an in-out release, which on a reverse stagger like that, if you put the broom in the right place, it actually makes it easier to get through that port. He looked at it for a long time. In the end, they're going to do pretty much the same thing they just saw, come sliding right by everything, and this one's out the back. It didn't touch the yellow at all.
So it found the bigger hole.
Yeah. So after the very well executed first and not as sharp here in the second for either team. The corner guard's pretty long. And we've seen two straight draws thrown very, very deep, one through, and the other one, the only reason it didn't get through is it rubbed one on the way by.
We'll see if Tardy can find the range here. Ice does seem to be a touch keener than it was yesterday.
Not sure that he got the line he needed there. If Matthew can get to the nose, had to look to see who was still throwing. If Matthew can get to the nose here, red onto the yellow, and it'll go pretty much straight sideways into the shot stone in the forefoot. It's tough to get to the nose. It's edge to edge. You can get there, but if you're on the outside of the red at all, you might just jam the red onto the yellow. You probably move that one at the top of the four.
So here's Matthew Hall.
Sweep in for curl here. It's going to be just a little bit on the high side.
It did massage the angles in their favor, and they lie one.
And Rylan immediately runs over to see what the hole looks like now. You could play it with the turn that you're curling through that stagger now. Tough for Cooey to make a play on the yellow at the top of the 12-foot either, because it's sliver underneath the guard. If he doesn't get up to the nose, he puts the yellow onto the red, and it just goes by the one in the forefoot. He's looking at the run on the guard. Red onto yellow, which might catch the red onto the yellow in the forefoot. You could get both yellows here. Actually, if you could be just a sliver off the nose running the red back, you'll actually close that port to the shots, or what is now second shot too. So red onto yellow, catch the top of the red stone, drives it onto shot stone, and your shooter should roll over just a sliver at least and take away the port. Boy, that was...
Sochinsky on the one.
That's not the way you teach a delivery. I'll tell you right now, that was not his best slide. Slid way tight, tried to feather it back to the broom, but I don't think he got it all the way back and hits it on the wrong side.
I have good news for Rylan. That hole is larger now.
Yeah. The angle for Cooey on the yellow is better now too, and I don't know that it's tough for Rylan to do much about that on this one. The red's high enough. If you tried to roll that way, you actually go across the top of your own. So I think the call was to go the other way behind the yellow guard, or even past it. It's okay too.
Stone on the way from Mattern.
This has got a curl.
It did.
Needs to at least get behind the guard. It'll roll past it. That's good. If you stay there anywhere, you're leaving a pretty easy double.
Yeah, don't see any real double there. So is there any benefit for Cooey to just whacking that one in the top of the 12-foot and pushing that pile back?
There is, but he certainly doesn't have to play it yet because Rylan can't do anything with that angle. It's one of those shots that you kind of assume it's always going to be there. And until you play it, Rylan's got no way to get rid of that red at the top of the 8-foot either.
So Chinsky's going to come around the outside here. Martin on this hard. It does not squeak past the guard.
Now he's taken away that shot in the middle. Well, it might still be there from the intern side. Quieter weight.
Thought it was always going to be there, Shawn.
That's probably still there on the intern.
Okay.
It's actually probably a little more dangerous now for Rylan Kleiter, too. If he makes it with the intern quieter weight, he's going to leave a stagger in front of the shot stone. He's not looking at playing it. What he's worried about is, what are you going to leave? There's still a double, I think he thinks, on the two yellows. It's flat, but it's probably there. Yeah, there's a good look at it. It's probably there. But you have to guard that.
So we're going to have another team chat here. So Johnson has the home jacket, but he doesn't have the home jersey on. You see, they're standing up by that really high guard, which is not even in our overhead picture.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at the gestures on the broom, and I'm thinking they're wondering about playing the yellow onto the red first. Now, if they play it with weight, so drive the yellow just to the left side of the red as we're looking at it, you might lose the one off the top of the button, but as long as you blast it out, which you might be able to do through that port with some weight, You've got to hit the yellow on the broom side. It's not a bad call. That yellow where it is kind of vulnerable. Cooey's got two ways to get at it. He could play the hack waiter. If you throw quietly through that port, get to the center line side of the yellow. Now yellow onto red comes directly onto the yellow in the forefoot. He's also got the double off the side. So if the yellow's that vulnerable, maybe it's not doing you any good back there. You can still sit two making this.
Trying to make it curl.
Yeah, he wants to be on the broom side, but not a lot on the broom side.
Does spill them, but really spills them all.
Yeah, and lost his shooter as well.
Not the desired outcome there for Team Kleiter. So I think we just went from a multiple score to a force.
Well, he's still going to have a chance to come around with his first, so Cooey's got to be a little bit careful here. They needed to hit that one thicker. They needed the first raise stone to stay in the rings for second shot.
So Kevin's killing this rock all day. It's just where'd he end up?
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a good spot you can roll to, so you may as well just stay out in the open. Rylan's going to draw. Not much you can do about that.
Kevin Cooey with his first. Carrick holds it right there. And they clip the catcher out of the back. Cooey lies two.
Well, they're looking at the hit and roll. You might be able to.
Yeah, that surprises me a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. It's hard to get anything around the yellow guard that Cooey can't get at because the guard's so long. With the hit and roll, you might be able to get it, and that's why you see they're not even looking at the yellow guard. They're trying to roll over behind the red, and it would be tough to get there with a draw.
Right.
You could maybe do it from the outside, the wide in turn.
So Rylan Kleiter, first skip rock at the second end. Johnson picks this one up right up off his hand, every inch of the way, hits it really thin. Is it going to hang around? And the answer to that question is negative, Ghost Rider.
And then it spins back. So
just a touch, yeah.
I do think Cooey's got shot rock. He's got to be, again, careful where he leaves this.
Yeah, I would agree with you that Cooey is shot stone. We're just going to check. Feel pretty confident about that.
Yeah, again, that yellow guard is very long, so you got to at least get buried here, if not a little over buried on the yellow. You can leave him half a rock on the broom side. He could probably get to it with hack weight, because you only have to touch that rock on the way by for two. It doesn't need to move very far. If you completely over curled it and got into the hole, I still don't know if he's got a shot for two. You just don't want to leave him the outside.
Just going over exactly where they want this to end up.
I'm still not sure that they're all on the same page with how deep they want this. The line's probably the most important thing.
So Kevin Kiley, the 4-time Brier champion, with his final shot of the second end. Second has all the weight it needs.
Important to note how much room it came by with. And again, remember how long that guard is. It did ever so slightly over Barry, but he came by probably a rock's width. Can Rylan get there with enough weight to just tap it through? And if it rubs that red on the way by, could be for 2. With that amount of ice, I don't think he's playing it.
And that run back would be extremely too long to attempt at this
Yeah,
point.
you're not attempting the run back, but I'm not sure the chase and tap isn't there. I mean, look at how long the guard is. It's not even in the picture.
Right. I agree.
So and that rock's in the back button, so that's 7 plus add the, maybe 15 feet, 12 to 15 feet to where the guard is. Like you got close to 20 feet after the guard.
Oh, yeah, I think you would want to clear the guard by a good foot. But drawing for one is Rylan Kleiter here. Final stone of the second end. He needs to get to the button. Come right on down to his opponent's stone. You see how far they're clearing it to get to the pin. And the line's going to be just fine. And the shot is just fine as well, so it's a single point for Kleiter. We're all tied up after 2. We'll be back from Swift Current right after this. You're watching Curling Stadium.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Welcome back to Swift Current. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown here on Curling Stadium. We're all tied up entering the third end of play. Kevin Kiley has the hammer. They're throwing the red stones. You see that draw?
That's interesting because the guard wasn't in the no-tick zone before, and now I think it is.
I agree. Trevor Johnson, the lead for Team Kleiter. Going to play the wraparound now. Past the guard, no problem. And it finds the brakes just behind the tee line. No hesitation from Gooey. Follow it down. That last end, Shawn, that wasn't the sharpest for either team.
No, they especially after you looked at how well they played in the first, they had some struggles with some draw weight, probably more than anything else in the last end. This is kind of an unintended consequence, but the first end, a lot of the first end was played with this turn. Of course, going the other way, it was the other turn they were playing earlier on through most of the end. I've seen this happen before when you get a lot of play on one side of the sheet. Later on in the game, when they need to play the other side, the speed's likely to be quite a bit different. Now, it's not anything that either team is intending to do. It's just the way the ends have set up. They've played this side of the sheet, but it's something they're going to have to keep an eye on.
No, certainly, and I think that's a big part of playing front end is keeping that mental map of where all the rocks have went. I think it's that ability and that memory that really sets you from being a okay front end player to being elite.
This is still just the fifth stone of the end. Now they can make a play on their own, so they're tapping yellow up. Or just guarding. Tapping it up, it looks like. They're going to hit the red. When they drive it through, that's a free guard zone violation. The red goes back, and the yellow shooter is removed from play. I'm not sure what they were thinking there.
We forgot to count to 5 based on the
Well,
smiles.
maybe, because I don't know what they were playing with that amount of ice and that weight. I feel like there is a chance they made the shot they were calling and then realized that they couldn't actually play that yet.
Yeah, just taking a look at the reaction right after the shot from Kleiter and the smiles they're having now. They just forgot to count to 5. So there you go, kids. It happens to the best of us. And even them.
There's got to be somebody on the team assigned to count to 5 from now on. I've seen worse. I have. I won't say who. I used to tell who. It was at it was in provincials, and the team threw their last rock, waiting threw a setup shot, and didn't realize they were throwing last shot. Last shot at the end. Throw it, made the shot they called, and nobody on the team realized this is the last rock. Steal of 2.
Oh, I skated back this morning and my front end asked me if I was throwing a guard. I'm like, well, since this is hammer, probably not.
But you weren't sure. let's wait and see where it ends up. Baby. Tapped up to get a piece of the button, but I think the yellow at the back is still shot rock.
I'd agree with you there, Shawnee. But good angles for Team Kleiter to take a run at it.
Yeah, you've got to run at the double here. Mind you, they had a run at a double that looked about this easy once earlier, and they missed the second redstone and clipped their own out. You don't want to see a repeat of that very badly right here.
Here comes from Matthew Hall trying to bring it over just a touch on the one. And bang, bang. There they go. Get it out the side all the way. Almost.
I don't think so.
But certainly rearranges the deck chairs there, and Kleiter lies shot stone all by himself. And just a lousy outside biter for Kevin Cooey.
Yeah, but those lousy outside biters, when you got the hammer, can sometimes end up as the second or third point on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. They're pounding this one hard. Big sweep out of Carrick Martin. We got at least 3 different shades of red in his face there.
Didn't get right down to the face, but they've got a good angle.
There is never a doubt that Carrick is not laying it all out there for you.
You got to wonder where he learned that. He didn't pick it up from Dad.
And in response, this is pretty good draw coming back here too. Does get across the face. That angle could prove quite helpful to them later.
Yeah, they've got the run straight back now. They could get rid of that red.
And if it clips their yellow on the way by, it might actually take out the other red.
Oh yeah, yeah. Play this with some weight. You know it's going to drag a little bit. You might be able to kill both yellows that way. You're probably losing your shooter. And you might lose the red in the middle. I mean, it'll drag a bit. I don't know if it drags enough to stay.
I think the red in the middle is going to go away here, but we'll find out in a second. On the way from Sluchinski. Just watching it come. Oh, it did drag onto it.
Well, I was always going to drag enough to clip it. I wasn't sure it was going to drag enough to stay, and it did. That's a bonus.
That caught an awful lot. It's a big shot there. Cooey lies too, and so now Kleiter has to figure out how to avoid a big number.
Well, pick your poison. You're either hitting and rolling towards that what did you call it? The little biter?
Lousy outside biter.
The lousy outside biter.
We're cleaning that one up for TV.
Or you roll underneath cover. And I mean, you're not out of trouble even if you make that, because there's also a red guard out there that can be run back.
So here's Hall trying to bring it over. And get up to the face and pretty much just stay right there. You need to get a bigger roll than that, I think.
Well, yeah, they did. For Cooey, I think you want to roll just half under the yellow here. If you roll all the way under, Kleiter's probably freezing. If you roll past the yellow guard over towards the red, he's still probably drawing. Half underneath, anything that he makes off it, even if he plays the run back, you're probably going to have a shot at it.
party working hard in this one. And they get it right the way you suggest it.
Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. Kind of forces Rylan into a spot where he's got to roll towards that lousy little outside biter, and it's tough to make the double. It's really thin. To roll in front of it, you know, it's a 5-foot roll to stop in front of it when you can only see half of the first rock. Like he doesn't have a great option either way here.
Yeah, I think you had to give it the college try.
And if you make it, you're probably looking at a blank. So that's your reward for making a really good shot. If you don't make it, you're probably giving up 2. If not 3. Is that red tight enough to split? It might be.
I think it is, buddy. I was just going to bring that in. It's close.
It's because he's got to split it from the outside. It's going to be tough to get the shooter in, but it might be there.
Well, they picked this one up right out of his hand. Now off. They kind of like it. It's down weight. Starting to curl hard on him now. They're going to get it. They're going to roll on over. Pretty close to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're trying to roll 5 feet and stay in front of a red stone, it's really tough to roll that far with the weight that he had to throw. Still, he got enough roll that Kevin really can't roll back towards the middle, so he's going to have to leave a double here.
So ultimately, you'd have to give Kleiter full marks on that shot, really.
Oh, for sure, yeah. He's given himself a chance to get out of trouble here. Kevin's going to want to roll a little bit broomside. If you hit this right on the nose, it's not just do you leave him a double, but you also leave him the chance to make the double and roll towards the center, might be able to get it in behind cover. You want to line these two up so that if he's going to play the double and makes it, he's got to stay out there on the corner where you've got a shot for the blank.
Here's the stone on the way from Kevin Cooey. Gonna be right on the beak.
Yeah, I thought they had indicated they wanted to roll. They didn't manage that like they were trying to roll, and they've left Rylan the shot, right? If you hit the angle right to make the double, you're rolling towards the centers.
Yeah, he has a shot to make the whole full-out bingo here.
Yeah, you could get a force out of this. Make the double on the roll behind cover, and Kevin will have to take one.
I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's been joining us all weekend. We've seen tremendous support from the fan base here. Watching on Curling Zone. Means a lot to us. It really does. You can like, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Be a part of the family. So here's Kleiter with his last. Trying to get it all. A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. And, oh, we're just going to get the appetizer and not the main course.
Yeah, just a little thick.
So that lousy outside biter is going to prove to score most likely. Kevin Cooey hitting stick for 2. Just keeping this one clean. They like it the whole way. It's 1 and a flop makes 2. 3-1. Kevin Cooey has the lead. We'll be back on Curling Stadium right after this.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Welcome back to Swift Current of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. Take us through those other scores there, Shawn.
Oh, well, it's all men's action on this afternoon. We've got Brad Gushu, John Epping. Epping with a 2-1 lead after 3 ends of play, and he's got the hammer. Brad Jacobs, 3 in the first to steal a 2 in the second. He's got a 5-1 lead over Brent Pierce as they play in the fourth. And Sam Moybrook just got 2 in the fourth. He's got a 4-1 lead over Charlie Thomas. That game in the fifth end. Thomas with last rock there.
And back here, it was Cooey hanging in deuce to have a 3-1 advantage. Now Kleiter gets their opportunity with hammer in N4.
Been hard for the past couple of days to keep track of who's playing where with 5 sheets in play. Normally 6 out of this club, but they've got bleachers set up on sheet 1, and from all accounts, every time I've seen the camera shot over there, they've got people out at ice level enjoying the action. It's a little different when you get the atmosphere of hearing all the players. You're close enough to catch all the words they say that they didn't want grandma to hear about. But you've got men's and women's teams mixed in this particular draw, just the 4 men's games. Next draw, there are the 2 women's semifinals. And we're still playing off the round or the triple knockout portion on the men's. So I think there's 3 men's games in the next draw.
See, Tardy's going to attempt this wide outside takeout. Past the guard, no problem. And he gets it. Kleiter's going to try to come around again and make a better one. Now, but Shawn, you're right. It's been great support. We've seen those bleachers full and always been people in the lounge on the first floor and upstairs as well. So a lot of support for the curling in Swift Current. Fantastic to see.
The 5 sheets, just with what it's done to the draw, has kind of made things a little confusing. You'd like to work with even numbers. I got caught once this morning, well, more than once for half the game, I think. I thought I was doing the second A qualifier. The second A qualifier wasn't played in the first draw this morning. It was played the second one, and that was Kleiter against Dunstone. He lost the game, and now here he is in the B. But with only 5 sheets, you can't always play all the games at the same time. You couldn't play 4 quarterfinals and 2 A qualifiers at the same time. Just didn't fit.
So that draw does make it undercovered. Tardy to rip off the corner here. So now with the one in the back rings.
Yeah. The thing here is you can't leave the double. So if he hits the one in the button area, he might leave a double on the yellows. By hitting the top one, that red one is in between the 2 yellows. He's not looking for the double himself here. It'd be too hard to pass it by the yellow at the back. Just hit this right on the nose, sit second and third.
He does sit 2-3.
Yep. Aaron looking to hit this one and roll to the other side of the house. Again, it's all about trying to group the yellow stones. He'll hit it right on the nose.
So it comes back to Kleiter, the 2019 World Junior Champion. Won that in Liverpool. Hall just giving it a heavy clean. Johnson a couple of licks. This should be pretty good. Make the hit. That's a pretty big roll. It's still lie 1-3.
That's interesting when you mentioned the 2019 World Juniors, and I had to look it up because I had forgotten about it, but you may not know this, and I knew it. I had to look it up. There's something else in there that I didn't know that I'm finding as I look it up. Now, Rylan was not his team. He was the alternate on that team. So do you know who the skip of that team was?
I need someone of approximately the same age.
You do? Uh-oh.
Oh, that
must have been burnt.
Yeah,
I didn't see it happen.
Let's see if we get another look at it here. Just looking at the YouTube replay.
They might have called their own hogline violation.
I think he did.
It almost looked like he felt it grab something and he tried to adjust at the last second and
I realized he was well over the line.
Yeah.
Good sportsmanship there, of course. Would expect nothing less.
So while all that was going on, were you sneakily looking up the answer?
No, I wasn't, and I'm gonna have to surrender to you there.
The skip of the team was Tyler Tardy.
Oh my goodness!
And the second, and I didn't realize this because I thought Matt was out of Ontario. Matthew Hall was the second on that team.
Wow.
And that's what I had to look up just to double check that. But I knew he was the alternate, and I was thinking in my mind, I think it was Tyler.
So, through all that, especially with the hogline stone, Lee's Kleiter sitting 3. I took another look at it. It looks like he double touched it after the hogline. Pretty obviously, too. Did not get the double out of that.
Nope. The hit stays right there.
Obviously, you see what a penalty it is to lose a stone in the end.
Problem now for Rylan is where do you put this so you don't leave some kind of double? And honestly, the only answer to that might be in the hacks, and that's not where you want it. That might be the only place you could put it where you don't leave a double. So how do you not leave a triple?
I think you just go top 12, third shot.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and they're not looking at it. I'm thinking full 12 at about 10 o'clock.
That's not bad. I don't like drawing underneath the red rack here.
No, it's scary. You're half around. Like if you put it right where they tap the ice there, that's awful close to triple.
And if you put it half around, you're letting Cooey draw underneath his own cover to maybe freeze and get out the end that way.
I don't think there's any chance he's freezing. With a 2-point lead and facing 3, he's hitting something.
Oh.
You're not giving up 4.
No. So they're having a conversation, and we can have a dialogue too. Why don't you hop in the chat and put a suggestion up there, folks?
Boy, you got to be real careful drawing the center line. He's going to have slash doubles both ways, and if you're in just the wrong spot, the slash double, like if you were splitting center at the top of the button, the slash double is probably a triple. That's too deep. I'm really shocked that they didn't look at full 12, 10 o'clock. There's the only double he's got then is the slash where he's got to roll out, and then you're drawing for 2.
Top 4 does look pretty close to a triple, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, not for me, but for Kevin Cooey, sure.
Now, physics doesn't change no matter who you are. If you put this on the angle where you can get, to get that 90-degree angle to both stones, it's there. You won't even have to hit it that hard because it's going to be fairly thin on the first one. Now, that part I will wager Kevin's still going to hit it hard because he can.
So, Rylan Kleiter gets what he called.
That's a triple. If you're Rylan, you got to hope that, Kevin just throws this for the double. So you're throwing the double. have your shooter hit the first one fairly thin, come across, get the double on the second one. Rylan's got to hope that yellow slashing towards the yellow at the back 12, I think he's got to hope it dead jams, because I don't think there's any chance it's missing it if he's got the right line for the double. Now, if he hits it a little too thick and misses the second stone, then he might go right by everything and you got a chance to draw for 3.
So Kevin Cooey looking to move 120 pounds of granite. Tardy trying to bring it over just a touch.
Might be too thin.
Really thin, only going to get the 1.
Wow.
So a big miss there to not even make contact with the second one, and open draw for 3 for Rylan Kleiter. It appears we have a final in a game.
It's got to be Jacobs then. They were way up. I didn't see who it was. You saw somebody walk off, did you?
It looks like I see Team Meacham, Laycock walking off.
That'd be tough. They were eliminated yesterday.
Well, then that would be really tough. Another team wearing red.
I think that's Brent Pierce, and because they were down 5-1 to Jacobs, and he had the hammer.
Kleiter, final stone of the 4th. Just needs the house. Needs to hang around. Big hard sweep to try to get it out, but it's going to be just fine. So that's 1, 2, and 3 for Rylan Kleiter. He takes a 4-3 advantage after 4. We'll be back from Swift Current after this on Curling Stadium.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmel Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
We're back in Swift Current. Rylan Kleiter scored 3 after he survived a triple attempt by Kevin Cooey. Cooey now with the hammer here in the 5th. Draw slides back just a little bit too far. Come around the corner card for Kevin Cooey coming up next.
It's one of those things when you get both teams that are willing to play a little bit, you can just sit back and watch the first five stones thrown, and then the rest of the end's going to evolve from there. But there's only a few scripts they can follow for the first 5.
That's so true. I was on vacation. I was on a cruise ship, and I set up a chessboard in the lounge, and I just sat there with my coffee and waited for somebody to take me up on that open invitation to play. And finally somebody did, and we started playing, and we're going through there, and I'm doing pretty well. After we get done playing, he resigned, and I won the victory. And he said, "Well, funny, I've never seen exactly that opening before." I'm like, "Well, that's because I don't play any opening, buddy. I just move the pieces around."
I think I saw Rylan suggest as he came out that we're just going to leave those 2 reds on the other side for now, because this is still the 5th stone of the end. So they're still chuckling about that. It was their own mistake.
It did end up costing him points that end. Then a little miscue on Team Cooey cost them rocks right back, so they lied too. The double is there if Cooey wants it.
Double's there. That was also the 5th stone. You could make the play on the guard too. Catch the 2 stones at the top, the guard and the one in the 12-foot. He's not too worried about the stone at the back of the 8-foot just now. That might help him later on.
So here's Tyler Tardy. Skipping the 2019 World Juniors team. See, I can learn things.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, Dave, but are you married?
I am not.
Okay. Because my follow-up question to that, had you said yes, is can we ask your wife what she has to say about that? They usually have a difference of opinion on that particular point.
I could ask my work wife and my curling wife, and they probably certainly would have an opinion.
Another chance for the double at the top. This one's just tight enough. If you make the double at the top, the shooter's liable to come across, touch those 2 reds at the side, and it's possible one of them squirts in.
Make the double, and the shooter just kind of hangs around right up there. Now Kleiter's going to draw on in.
Yeah, here's the problem if you're Kleiter. You'd love to come around, but you look at the guy on the other side and you think, oh, we don't want to leave him a run back red onto yellow. So what can we come around? So just looking to get a sliver underneath. You don't want to leave him the run back where he runs back and he's buried. It's tough. It's going to be there anyway because you get a sliver underneath. He plays the angle run back and rolls it behind the other two. Doesn't get a sliver underneath, it'll be a straight hit to roll behind cover.
They are going to try to get that sliver, and they did.
It's still the run, red onto yellow, and bounce it in behind the other two. Now, if he makes this, he's still only going to be second shot, and there is a chance that the shooter will be staggered on the other red, so then there might be something you can come around with no run back opportunity.
First stone from Sluchinski. It's already on this all day. They make it. They get the roll. They lie in a pretty good place.
Yeah, I think they overlapped it just a sliver. That's what Rylan's trying to decide. If we get in behind, has he got anything he can run back? Maybe the middle one out of the three.
There's a good chance the middle one is going to come on the one that was just delivered. It depends where you end up. This is interesting angles.
I don't think it does. Like, he's looking at peeling the guards right now, but I don't think it does come back. I think it comes off the side of the one right beside it, and it spins back towards the yellow. He's thinking.
Do you like going with the peel now?
No.
But
again, it's because I think it's coming back towards the yellow. You kind of got to defer to the players. They usually have a better view of the angles. But that's what I'd be scared of.
So Mattern is going to open things up. And you don't want to leave two reds in the rings. Thankfully, you're able to clear it out.
Touched the red, but cleared the yellow, so Cooey will have a chance to hit and sit two. He'll have to try to hold it. Doesn't have to hold it very long. Just 5 stones left to come here. And will want to hit this right on the nose. That'll make for a very thin double if they want to come off the higher one. Then Rylan will have to make a decision. Are we going for the double right now, or are we going to try to get a hit and roll somewhere where we can set up a better shot at a double on the next one?
Well, there's your nose hit.
And he's looking for the hit and roll. You know, if this was last shot, he'd try the double now. It's thin, but it's definitely possible. The problem with trying the thin one is if you hit it a little too thick, clear everything, it's pretty easy for Kevin Cooey to split the rings well enough that you're not going to have a chance for the last one. You roll over there towards it somewhere, and you might have a better angle on the next one. Get right in front of it. You can make it really difficult for Kevin Cooey to get rid of your shooter here.
So a little downweight shot here from Mattern. both on now. You gotta get a piece. Oh no, you slid right by. Absolutely couldn't do that.
Yeah, you couldn't be playing it that cute. You still had to make contact with that stone.
So now Kiwi has to figure out how to hold 3.
Well, there's a double there on the 2 that are already there. You just don't want to leave them an easier double. The one that's there is tough.
So I think I saw what them allude to is to throw one even height basically on the other side of the top one.
Yeah. No danger of leaving a triple in this setup, but you have to be careful not to leave the easier double.
Discussing the shot is Kevin Kiwi, the veteran skip from Alberta. Originally from the Northwest Territories, learned how to curl in Inuvik at the tender young age of 6.
He had more hair then.
He delivers his first of the 5th.
Just needs to curl a bit and maybe slow down.
This one's coming a little bit deeper, and this is going to be an easier double.
Yeah. It's still not a gimme. It's thin, but there's less distance between them, which increases the margin for error a little bit. If you're really greedy, it's possible here you make the hit on the first one, come across the top of the second one, and spin all the way up in behind the third one. And before you say, oh, that's asking for a lot, I saw this same young man make one of these at the Tankard last year.
No, the angles certainly go there, so.
Made the double and spun all the way across.
Rylan Kleiter. This last of the 5th. On and off, it's really close. Get the 1, get the 2 in. There's your double takeout right there.
Still, Kevin Kiwi will have the chance for his deuce here. Just needs to make the yellow go away and stay in the ring somewhere.
We've had no shortage of offense so far.
Yeah, it's almost got that feel of last hammer wins right now.
So Kevin Kiwi, final stone of the 5th. Just looking to hit and stick for the deuce. He makes that one, no problem. Hang 2 for Kevin Cooey. It's 5-4 after 5. We'll be back after this. You're watching Curling Stadium.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Welcome back to Swift Current. That's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. I'm Dave Schmel. I'm joined by Shawn, Joyce, James Gordon handling our production. And we thank all of you for joining us here on Curling Zone and Curling Stadium. It's been great to have you with us all week, along with our sponsors, RBC Dominion Securities, Aztec Safety, S3 Systems, Sasktel, Hardline, Asham, and Bumper to Bumper. The deuce there for Cooey, and now Kleiter has a hammer here in the all-important 6 end.
Yeah, if you could ask these teams what they wanted to have before the game, they'd love to have hammer in the even end, certainly by the 6th. A lot of these teams thinking about right away. He's down by 1, but, you know, there hasn't been, aside from the first 2 ends where there were singles, there hasn't been any trouble for these teams putting points on the board. You got to like the chances to generate a deuce here.
So Trevor Johnson.
He's got a lot of room.
Want to find the breaks. Matt Hall finishes it off.
Yeah, they're fine with it being deep. If it's buried, it's actually going to stay half out in the open.
That's been one thing about the Swift Current ice. We've seen a lot more curl inside out than we generally do on the tour events, which has allowed for some neat shot making.
They do have to be a little careful with this one. This is still just the 5th stone of the end, and that guard they're coming by is in the free guard zone. He's got room.
They make the dig.
Just looking to make the double on the top 2 reds, the one in the 12-foot and the guard, and then roll over for a corner guard on the other side. got to hold the shooter here. You start rolling out of play, and you might see Kevin Cooey try to force the blank here. If he can force the blank, force you in 7, he's got last rock coming home.
Did not make the double, just picked off the top one.
Yeah, but that's still going to let Kevin play the corner guard off. Kevin would love to see a blank here. If he gets a blank here in 6, he can play for the force in 7. Even if he gives up 2, he's got last rock coming home. Miscue after miscue, they don't get the peel.
So now Kleiter's going to get a second chance to build the end here.
Yeah. No center guard anymore. The stone in the 12-foot by itself doesn't really worry him.
So here's Matt Hall. Second stone, but vice skip.
I was sure you were going to point out that he was second on the 2019 World Junior Curling Champions.
He wishes he threw that one about a second faster.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible where it is, only because it means Kevin can't really go after the guard.
Sluchinski. Martin trying to bring that one over. They just get enough of it. And they spin theirs over to a corner. And theirs comes back. So
yeah, the center's always going to be wide open now by the looks of it. So Rylan will go hard from this point on, try to score his deuce. He's got the one corner guard to work with. Even that one that's just biting the top 12 could be used as a corner guard if you had to. You come around it. Of course, there's 2 rocks behind there. Something could get jammed on.
And being forced isn't exactly a tragedy because you do score in that even end.
Yeah.
And you try to force Cooey back then.
Yeah, it'll affect the strategy at 7 for sure. If you're tied up playing 7, Rylan Kleiter, he basically just doesn't want to see a blank end. He'll take a single either way, puts him in an okay position.
They wick off the guard. Can they get a piece under here?
Well, they had a piece under, and then it took a big spin back. Mind you, what does Kevin Cooey do with it? Like, to hit it, you pretty much got to hit it right on the nose, drive it through the port, and that's another rock that Rylan could come around. It's hard to pick it out.
Yeah, Cooey sits 2 right now. This stone's certainly a problem. Pretty close.
Pretty close to a jam. Oh, just touches it. That probably helps Rylan Kleiter, because now you could come down to that stone at the back. You'd have some protection from the guard on the outside at least. Three stones left. You'd like to put 2 of them on the board. You have to put this one in a good spot.
So here's the second from Joshua Mattern. This one probably is coming down to the back. It's gonna almost freeze right to it.
Yeah, just the wrong corner of it, though. That's the side that he can get it out from.
Question is that what he's going to go for? Answer is yes.
Shocked if it isn't, yeah.
We've been shocked before. Just not this time.
Yeah, you know, you get it that much on the other side of the nose, and because you can't throw the out turn at it, the guard's in the way, it's a tough rock to get out.
Kiwi with this first, Tardy on it right off the bat. Past the guard, no problem. Hits it and just squeaks it out. Kiwi line 4 in the house.
You got the hit and roll underneath the 2 reds, and there's even the little catcher on the 12, so it's a wide area of coverage. He's not really looking at making the double. When he's checking the angle on that, he just wants to know how safe are we if we roll over there? Are we going to be right into the side of it? Because if you roll past it at all, or if you hit the top of it and spin up, there's going to be a way for Kevin to get it out. You're just playing the straight hit and roll. If you end up into the side of that rock, that's okay.
So here's Kleiter with his first of the 6th. Johnson on it right out of his hand. Trying to hold that line. You hold it. You're going to jam onto it. You do. And you lie shot stone.
Your choices are an 11-foot run back or a draw, and
well, draw gives you a chance to steal too.
draw lets you play the out turn, and you're Kevin Cooey, so that might have been a part of the factor here. Get half around, it's tough for Rylan to do anything with it. The only rocks he could run back are all red, so there's no shot for 2 if he gets this partly buried.
Did bring the ice in just a hair. Even more. Okay, now back where he had it anyway.
So that's the thing. Aaron has traditionally been a skip. He hasn't played third much yet. He hasn't learned how to, when a skip asks for a different ice from the hack, you're supposed to just wiggle the handle without moving the broom. An experienced third would know how to do that.
Kevin Cooey, his last of the 6th. Trying to draw it under cover. and put the pressure on Rylan Kleiter.
This is not light.
It's not light. It's not all the way under either. And
he can get to that.
I think he needed that less ice.
You know, if you take that line and you bring it up to the top 4 foot, it's tough to get this out, but it's back far enough now. He can get to 3/4 of this with just back line weight, pass it by the yellow, and pick up his deuce.
So, big, relatively unexpected opportunity for Rylan Kleiter here to get a deuce in 6. Final stone of the 6. Off and on. Usually a good sign.
Once they're sure they're by, they'll switch.
Now they do switch and carve it over. And they get it. No problem. Hangs on. Yes, indeed. That's a deuce for Rylan Kleiter. He takes a 6-5 lead after 6 here in Swift Current. We'll be back right after this on Curling Stadium.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed? More innovation?
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Welcome back to the Swift Current Curling Club. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. And Shawn, why don't you take us around the rings?
Yeah, there's a little less action out there than there was when we started. Just 4 games on tap on this draw, and John Epping with a 5-2 lead in the 7th over Brad Gushu. Gushu does have last rock there. Our game 6-5 as we play in the 7th. Brad Jacobs, 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and 3 more in the 4th. He has an 8-1 winner over Brent Pierce. That's B qualifier action, and Pierce drops down to a C qualifier. The one C event game that's out here, Sam Moybrook, a 7-2 winner over Charlie Thomas. So Thomas eliminated. Sam Moybrook will move on in the C event.
And with us, it's Rylan Kleiter with a 1-stone advantage over Kevin Cooey. Cooey now having the hammer. I'm Dave Schmel, and joined by Shawn, Joyce, and we're happy to be joined by you this pleasant day here.
Just had to check the draw for that 1C event game. Sam Oybrook, if he manages to qualify, he's going to sleep good tonight because that only put him into a C qualifier or C semifinal. So he just played. He's going to go right back on the ice at 5:45. And if they're going to qualify, they have to win that one and go back on the ice at 9 o'clock tonight. It's good to be young.
Well, his front end will sleep well. I'm sure Sam will feel just fine.
At my age, that hurts just to think about it.
That one just squeaks around the guard. Lines up pretty nicely. Now, Kleiter doesn't have to count to 5 because you're allowed to move your own.
Yeah. Rylan would love to get the force here. If he gives up 2, not the end of the world.
That's true. See, I was going to ask, how do you balance that wanting to get the force with the potential of giving up 2?
Well, and again, giving up 2 is not the end of the world. He's 1 down coming home, and I mean, he's already generated a couple of deuces in this game, or a 3 and a deuce, so he's probably not that uncomfortable if he's got last draw coming home. The problem starts to arise if you try so hard for the force that, you've heard me say this before, it's real easy if you start being real aggressive for the force, you can force them to score 3 in a hurry, and Kevin Cooey will be open to that. He actually probably wouldn't mind a blank here. He'll take the 2 if he gets it because they're such a strong defending team. But if he gets a chance to blank, he won't mind having last draw coming home either. Same thing on the other side of the coin. They've had a couple of deuces already this game.
Kind of interesting where that stone ended up.
He has to make his decision now, right? If you're going to play to blank this, you got to move that guard now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've decided to play the come around. I'm not sure that he's certain about this.
Watched enough of Kevin Cooey to play to know it's not always easy to read his face.
It's going to be out there. It's got to be deep. You can't leave the double off this stone.
They will finish it hard. Pretty sure if this shot is made, you're going to make Kevin Cooey's mind up for him.
Very reminiscent right now, the first end. A lot of freezes played around this side, and the issue there was, for the longest time, nobody could get to the inside corner.
Then eventually Team Cooey got 2 beautiful ones. And it's like deja vu all over again, buddy.
Right to the face, but he didn't get to the inside corner, and it still leaves a shot. If 1, 2, 3, 4, who we got throwing here? Tyler with his last one. If he can get into the side of that 4-foot and just a sliver to the inside of that red, he'll be sitting 2. Or a sliver to the inside of the yellow, pardon me.
This one looks to be quite a ways out there.
If the weight's right, it'll curl at the end. There it goes.
And now we shift to have Sluchinski try to bring it over. If it gets that last little corkscrew, it's going to be nice. And it is. They like 2.
Got the shot. You could blast it. If you blast it, the middle yellow stays. The 2 reds will go. Still would leave them shot at the top of the button and that same freeze available. Still a good result if you get to the inside corner. If you're on the outside now, Cooey's already sitting 2.
Right.
So that's the problem. And take a look at that from the hack end. I mean, the corner of that rock is buried. Even right on the face, I think red is still sitting 2. You've got to get to the inside because that red stone is, it's a little more than half in front of the tee line. So you've got to be inside corner to at least be second shot.
And the blast, is that on the guard or is that on the one that's in the 12-foot?
When they were talking about the blast, they were talking about the one in the 4-foot. You hit a quarter of a rock on the outside edge. It's going to go out off the yellow. The yellow in the middle, just because of the drag, it's going to stay there. The 2 reds would go, but it still leaves the same freeze to sit 2.
What happens if you hammer the yellow in the 12?
I'm not 100% sure. There's going to be some drag on that red-yellow combination. So as much as it looks like the red-yellow comes straight back, it won't. It'll drag a bit. So you're going to hit the outside of that red. The yellow probably leaves. The top red might not go very far.
So certainly a lot of possibilities. They're going to try to make one more shot at this draw. See if they can't find the secret sauce. It's going to take all 11 herbs and spices to get this one right. And it is on the top guy.
Yeah, that was plan B when they realized they weren't going to get there. They were hoping to bounce off that at least, and it didn't. Left everything hooked.
So, Shawn, those are some interesting angles now.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think anybody's 100% sure. When you hit yellows, yellow, yellow, red, yellow, where does that 4th yellow go? And it's got to pop out towards the open somewhere. It's not a shot that Kevin Cooey's going to look at playing. It's they're trying to figure out where does this go if we leave it for them. He can't really do anything about the red, yellow, red combination on the outside now. Can't get at it.
If you're worried about that, could you throw a shot in to try to just jostle that a little bit and take it away?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You might be able to get around with the intern and touch the red. The problem then is your shooter going to be in a worse spot? If you're jostling it from the side where the 2 yellows are already, there's a pretty good chance you're either not going to change it or you actually might make it worse. Like if you come down, tap yellow, yellow, red, yellow, and just to move it up a few inches, now when you tap yellow, yellow, red the next time harder, it comes across the top of that yellow a little bit more and it's going to come straighter back. So that doesn't help Kevin Cooey. Peel the guard probably doesn't help him that much at this point either. I think looks like he's guarding it, to be honest. Or trying to tap the one that was just thrown just to break the angle. I don't think you're worried about tapping the 4th one. I think you're trying to get rid of the overlap.
Right.
Guard, 2-3 I heard. So they're guarding it.
So a 2-3, a halfway or better guard. Well, if you want to hit it, you can still do it. Just have an extra stone to run in between. Looking at running the center one. That would change the way things drag, most likely.
They're trying to get the drag. Run the yellow, clip the red. So now you're driving the red from, if we look at the overhead, because there's bodies standing in front of the other one. If we look at the overhead, you drive the yellow back, miss the 2 yellows in the 12-foot, catch the red. Now you're driving the red from right to left as we look at it. So you'll get a little bit of drag that way on the yellow that's right behind it. You might be able to dead stuff it. The problem I see with that, though, is you got to be off the nose on the yellow to make that shot. And you're only clipping half the, you see, even if you make it and stuff it, everything's rolling off that would have covered it. It's still going to be open, I think. They think it's going to drag enough to get to the inside of it. I'm not sure that it will, but it definitely drags if you make this. It's just there's not a lot of room to drag it to the inside of that red stone and try to roll it behind the stagger.
Josh Mattern. Back and forth. They must think it's pretty close. On the one, they do get it to move.
Oh, it actually spun really big over the top and all the way out of the 4-foot. I don't think they saw that coming. I didn't see that coming. I didn't think it would drag that far.
That's one heck of an outcome. Josh Mattern.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
another
better.
look at it. Back and forth. They must think it's pretty close.
Makes the hit, catches the red at the top, and when it goes right to left as we looked at it on the overhead, the other one was going to drag, and there wasn't a lot of room between those. I didn't think it would drag as far as it did.
So now it's Kiwi. Shot stone underneath a fortress of cover. Kleiter locked into second pretty well right now.
Yeah. They're looking at, the red's in the way. The red at the top of the 12-foot. If there was a double, you'd need to get rid of that one. So do you ever
just draw?
Well, you could, but they're looking at how can we get that yellow out of the middle back there. And I think what they're looking at here is you're playing red onto yellow. So red in the 12-foot onto yellow in the 12-foot, and then roll your shooter into the middle. And then you might have an in-off to get rid of that yellow in between the 2 reds at the back. And it could be for a pile.
So here's Sluchinski. Martin holding it.
Jam and roll in.
Jam and roll in.
And he did. Look, there's an in-off off the red to kick that yellow all the way out.
Oh, my goodness. So danger Will Robinson for Rylan Kleiter. He sits second.
But that Yellowstone is now vulnerable.
Surrounded by a veritable gaggle of Kiwi rocks.
Everything's staggered up front. There's not going to be any run backs. You've got staggered guards, and then 2 more staggered the 12-foot. There's not enough time to set up any kind of run back for either team.
You see where the broom is on the ice right now. Do you just draw right there?
It's an option. I mean, you're never going to be dead buried, but it doesn't look like... I got so many camera angles. I'm looking at them all, and I don't think there's a hole between the 2 reds. So if you put that yellow top of the button, put this yellow top of the button, and he runs it towards the one at the back, I don't think there's any way you ever get that one out between the 2 reds. There's some risk playing it that way too, because you could actually clip the shot rock instead of the yellow.
So you want to put it right there, right to the top of the button, and you never want to be that deep. You want to be right up there.
No, I don't think so.
So if you go any deeper than that, then you have the slash the other way.
You got to be second, though, because if you're not second shot, that in-off at the back is still there.
Absolutely. So drawing to nothing but air with no backing is Rylan Kleiter against what could be a disastrous end for him. Yeah. You talk about forcing Gooey to take three. You never thought you'd force him to take 5. Here's Kleiter with his first. This one needs to go, needs to keep on being carried. It is light.
Yeah, I think I heard top 8. That's not good. Got a balance at least. He didn't. Left it overlapped. Now that might save him if he has to play a draw with his last one, because if he can get around it, he won't be able to make any kind of double. Cooey might have to go there first.
That is what he's thinking initially.
I don't know if you want to be quite as deep as what he just signaled either. I think if you're just full 4-foot at the top so that you're sitting 2, Rylan can't follow it down. If you're right onto the button, he follows it down, sits on top of you, and he'll hold you to 2. He's not playing with a big piece of ice here, really. You got to be full 4-foot just to be second shot. If you're all the way to the tee line, he follows it down, and boy, if you're all the way to the tee line and he follows it down, sits on top of it, you might only get 1.
The first from Cooey on the way. Not even bent over it.
If any chance this is deep, they might be better off to just take it back. And that's what they've decided finally.
So, one chance to get out of jail for Rylan Kleiter.
Yeah.
If he can draw to be shot rock. The squad's going to owe him a beverage of his choosing.
Well, he's still got the same problem. He can't be deep because, again, when you come off that, if you come red onto yellow, it's going to touch the other red, then come more or less straight sideways. So if he's back button at all, there actually might be a double on the yellows. If he can get this to the top of the 4-foot, maybe nibble the button and partly around, that the fact that he staggered it on the last one will help him. Boy, this is a long ways out there, though.
It is starting to curl back now. Kleiter has to get this one here. He lies second, but he's in a world of trouble. A long, long way to come. It cuts over now hard. Look at it take that turn. Now it needs to stop. Stop, Brock. Stop. And it stops right there on the pin. Shot stone for Rylan Kleiter. Is it good enough, Shawn Joyce?
Well, I think so, but Kevin can see a little bit of the outside of it. If you
oh boy,
throw the weight that he's capable of throwing, hit what you can see, it's probably going into the yellow. Now, the question is how many... I mean, there's all kinds of jams back there. Can you get it spinning enough to...
I think he probably gets 4.
I don't think he does, but he could probably get 3. I think if you make it, the yellow that you make contact with comes into the side of the yellow at the back 4. It's going to take at least one of those reds, and you're hoping it's just the one at the side 8 foot. But I don't think it ever leaves, so that yellow is probably still beating the one at the back of the 8. But if you could pick it clean, yellow into the yellow, don't touch the one that's right behind it. Have the 2 yellows splash around it. It could be for 3.
And if you're Cooey here, you have to throw it, because if you whiff, you give up a steal one. You have the hammer with.
Yeah, you have the hammer, but you're trailing by 2. I don't see that you've got a shot for 1 unless you think you can make the draw and just tap it back. Yeah,
Tough. I think you might be able to dig it out for 1. Then you have to steal. So
well, he's wondering, can you get there with enough weight to move it back for 2?
He's going to give it a shot.
He's got to have back 8 foot weight. Back 8 foot weight and hit about half, minimum half, or a little thicker so that you don't roll that far. You can only see about a quarter. It will come in pretty hard at the end. It might be there.
So Kevin Cooey, last rock of the 7th. Trying to squeeze on by, move back his opponent's stone, and hold it for 2.
This is one of those ones where you'll see Tyler Tardy with his brush down until they are sure it's by, and then it'll be all Carrick Martin at the end. I don't think he's got the weight to move it. He doesn't.
That is right there on the guard. It's a steal of 1 for Rylan Kleiter. He takes his 7-5 advantage. Cooey has the hammer in the 8th when we come back.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you...
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
And we're back in Swift Current. It's the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. 8th end action. Team Kleiter with a huge team shot to get that last draw to steal one in the 7th end and take a 2-point advantage. And it was, man, Rylan needed that one there, Shawn.
Yeah, he did. He was in some trouble. Had to get a rock in a position where it couldn't be removed because the lone one that he had in the 4-foot before that, there was a way for Kevin to get it out, and it could have been for 3 or 4.
So here we go. Game on. Double corners coming up for Team Cooey.
Yeah. Well, if you're Cooey and you want to score 3, it kind of helps you that the first stone of the end was to the back 12-foot, so there's only one in the middle that you're ever going to have to deal with now. Kleiter's going to have to make a decision now. You got a good one in with the second one. Attempting to guard it, I think. Well, he's going to try to choke off the corner guard. I don't like that. Yeah, I'm not in love with this. Trying to take away one of the corner guards, force Kevin Cooey to go around the other one, and then you'll peel corners on the next one. But these are tough. Kevin's liable to come down and just corner freeze to whatever you throw here. And definitely, if you're deep, this is not a good result at all.
Better be all the way through at this point.
Yep.
And they do manage to do that, so good situational awareness.
So Kevin went to take a look to see which guard's higher. He's going to go behind the lower one first. And, you know, this is smart, but I have seen teams not realize this. You go behind the lower one first so that there's absolutely no chance of a double peel when they try to peel the guard off here. It's pretty flat. Don't think there would have been a double peel regardless of which one's higher, but you can be deep here. Full back 12 is still second shot. Got to get it back far enough to bury it.
Now it takes that turn. It's going to bury all the way under for sure. That's pretty well thrown.
Yeah.
Now the dig is definitely available, but I have a feeling, Shawn, you'd prefer the peel.
Yep.
Well, apparently they don't care what you prefer.
Well, this is the shot that gets you in trouble, right? If you rub the guard, you don't get it out of the way. Or I guess, I mean, we've seen it happen. You could go right by everything.
You're bumper weight and they're on it. Really close. It is by the guard. They carve it over. They do make the pick.
Leaves a pocket at the back and the same draw is still there.
So I guess your point is your situation really didn't improve other than advance the rock counter one.
Tighter line coming by. They let it die a little bit, though.
They did. It did have just a hair less weight. Probably should have gotten to that, and this is a much easier pick.
Not going to get by this time. Well, and they roll to an absolutely disastrous spot because now you can freeze to that stone.
So you certainly didn't want to do that. This is buried. They are second shot stone.
I think it stayed high enough that you got the double. I mean, it's a long ways across the house, but you're probably hitting the open red anyway, and it kind of looks like you've got room to go over the top of the yellow and try to get into the side of that red that was just thrown.
You're going to come really close to your 1 on the 4 foot.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that you are. That's what they're worried about, but it's really thin to get to your own in the 4 foot. Like half a rock is close, thick half. You look at how high up you are when you're making contact with the first one.
I guess the question, Shawn, is it a disastrous problem if you tick your own on the way by?
Well, probably, because then you're not likely hitting the red on the side, and that red's buried. Like, this is maybe your only shot to get it out. If they're not sure they can make it, they're talking also about just hit and roll into full 8 foot, so you're sitting 2 at least. We're late enough in the end that Kui probably has to make a play on one of them now.
Would you ever dig the one that is second shot and lie 3? I hear your disapproving sigh.
Well, it's a great result. It's the tougher shot, right?
I don't think this is a gimme.
Well, it's an open hit, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if you hit this and roll out, Kevin's still got to do something. If you try chasing that one and you rub the guard, it's a nose hit to sit 3, right? It's
right.
You're never going to miss this rock. Kevin's still got to do something just to sit 2.
So they're just going to try to hit and roll. Nice easy weight. They get the hit. They get the roll. They lie 2.
And Kevin's team's already at the far hog line, knowing that we got to look at the angles here.
So allow us to look at them together.
The slash double doesn't ever do any good for Kevin. You lose the shooter, and it's probably jamming on the side. The hit and roll that Aaron's looking at, you got to throw it really quiet and hit very thin. Great result if you make it. Makes it a tougher shot when you're trying to hit that thin. Yeah, I don't like that. They talked about hitting the one in the 4 foot and trying to roll under the yellow and maybe past it. I don't love that. It's probably leaving that could leave a double on the reds. Yellow onto red, and then have the shooter come across and take the one out of the side. You could hit the one in the 8 foot and roll to the open side, but then they just hit it again, and you know, they're holding you to 2 in that case, likely. Freeze the back one is what he's looking at now. I'm wondering if you could freeze the one in the 4 foot, but how do you get there? The guard's kind of in the way.
Right. You ever kind of play a little feather off of the one in the top and freeze onto it?
Freeze onto the one on the top of the 4 foot, you mean?
Yeah.
No, you might play the feather. That was what Aaron was looking at. Feather the one in the top of the 4 foot and then try to roll corner frozen onto the one at the back 8. And then you probably line up the 2 yellows better. Like right now, for him to make a double on the 2 yellows, it's hard to hold the shooter. Knows the yellow, he's playing the double. That's no good. Hit and roll to the outside, which is what I talked about earlier. He'll play to hit the open one again, but still going to leave you a shot for 2. They're trying to find a way to score 3 here. That's the issue.
So the jury has reached a verdict.
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sure what it is. They're hitting the yellow in the 8 foot. They've talked about every possible roll, and I'm not sure what they settled on. Oh, no, they're not.
No, they're not indeed. They're throwing the draw. This has got to go for weight.
Needs to beat the 2 at the back. I think part of the consideration when they're playing that shot is they figure the yellows are lined up for a triple. It's a triple where you can't hold the shooter.
So now the ball back in Kleiter's court.
You could almost see enough of that to make the double. It's not without risk, but it might be there.
Now, there's never harm in getting rid of one.
No, for sure. Like if you just missed the second one, that's not the end of the world. But even if you just touch it, you're going to touch it out into a spot where you can get rid of it.
I'd like to thank all of you who are watching, more than 3,000 of you with us live here on Curling Stadium. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit that thumbs up button. Help us out with the YouTube algorithms. Let's just bring you more curling. We endeavor to give you the best product we possibly can. And now Kleiter is going to endeavor to deliver the best shot he can. His first of the 8th.
Called the brush on right away.
It did take off right out of his hand. Just past the guard. Get the one, clear it, and you roll towards the center. You lie 1, 2, and 3 right now.
Yeah.
Is the triple there that holds the shooter now?
Well, yeah, it might be. Nose hit might just get rid of all three. Like it'll take the first two, come to the third one. And the question is whether or not it'll roll over the top of the red. I think it comes up a little. The problem for Kevin Cooey then, though, is that your shooter is only third shot. That yellow at the back of the 8-foot would still be second. That's what they're looking at. If you yellow off the side of the yellow, top of the other, and would it go across the top of the red? Even if you make it, you're only sitting one. And Rylan's going to have a chance for the double, which he probably has to play, even though it won't be shot rock. He just can't leave it sitting up there in case.
So there you see another look at the angles. You obviously have to move those three at some point.
Yeah, you don't have to move all of them now. It's the question is how are they going to fly? Aaron seems pretty convinced that it'll go over the top of the red, and I mean that's what I'm looking at too. I think it might. It's really hard to tell from here. Like if the first yellow the first yellow, the one splitting the center, when it comes off the one that's right beside it, if it comes right to the top of the yellow in the 4-foot, probably comes up higher. But if it ever gets just slightly across the nose of the yellow before it makes contact, it's probably going right into that red. And it's hard to know from here exactly how it's going to come off. It really depends where you hit the first one. Now, they'll have a pretty good idea of it at ice level. Kevin judges these angles about as well as anybody. It does look like they were talking about hitting it just a sliver high.
So we are going to pound this, most likely.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if it doesn't get over the top of that red one on the side, he won't get to throw his last rock. Not sure what else he could do here, though.
Large crowd gathered both in the warm room, on the ice, and you all joining us here on YouTube. Kevin Cooey trailing by 2 with hammer with his first of the 8th. Martin carrying it the whole way on the 1-2, and
Sliver
it
high.
does make it over the top. The triple is there. Kevin Cooey, great shot. Now can Kleiter respond?
Well, it's a double to end the game. And it's not the toughest double in the world either. There wasn't anything else Kevin could do, I don't think. I didn't see anything else. It actually did touch that stone going across the top, I think.
It did just nudge it a skosh back.
Didn't make a significant change to this angle. It's a little thin for the double now, but it's a comfortable, third should be good.
So Rylan Kleiter from Saskatoon for the win here right now. Make this double. You punched your ticket through on the qualifier. On the 1, get the second, and there you go. And that'll be the win for Team Rylan Kleiter. The final score will be 7-5. And Kevin Cooey will drop to the C bracket. And Shawn, that was a great game by both squads.
Yeah. I lost count of how many lead changes. I know there was no more than 7.
No, it certainly went back and forth, and you had a couple shots from both teams that they definitely would have liked to have back, but also some good clutch shots there.
Yeah, it was a good game to have the hammer. There's a lot of points scored with the hammer, and unfortunately for Kevin Cooey, he didn't have the chance to throw it here in 8, but he's still got another chance to qualify. He'll be back in a C qualifier later on.
Absolutely, and our next action is going to be coming up in just about a half hour. Make sure you join us again here on YouTube and Curling Stadium from the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. For Shawn,
Updating
Joyce,
those scores on the board. So Epping is a qualifier, Kleiter is a qualifier, and Jacobs is a qualifier. That Sam Moybrook, that was a C event game. So they've still got to win 2 more to qualify, and the losers of these B qualifiers all drop into C qualifiers later tonight. So they've got another chance yet. A lot of action. There's still 2 draws to come and a lot of games yet to be played.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you're going to have it. We're each going to have a game next draw?
Yes, I have no idea which game I'm doing, but it doesn't seem to matter today. They're all good.
Looks like right now you're lined up to call Engla against Strauss.
All righty.
But for right now, he's Shawn Joyce. I'm Dave Schmel. James Gordon had the production. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. Curling Stadium. We'll catch you in just a half hour.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.